Question 21, we want to solve these simultaneous equations given our answers correct to one decimal place. Okay, so this isn't the linear equations where you can multiply to get the coefficients, like the numbers in front of the x's or the y's the same. This has got a quadratic one, so we're going to have to substitute the linear one, so the easier one, into the more complex one. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation here and I'm going to rearrange it to get y is equal to 2 plus x. Then I'm going to take this y equals 2 plus x, and where the y appears in this bottom formula, instead of writing y, I'm going to write 2 plus x. So that is going to give me 2 plus x is equal to 2x squared plus 5x plus 1. Okay, so I've substituted the easy one into the second one to get that. I'm now trying to solve this equation here, which is a quadratic. Whenever I'm solving quadratics, I have to make them equal to 0. So I'm going to move the 2 and the x across to the other side. When I move the x, it's going to subtract. It's going to leave me with 4x here. 2 is also going to subtract, so I'm going to get minus 1 there. Now, usually these questions would be nice and they would factorize, but they're giving you a clue that that's not going to happen in this one by the fact that your final answer is going to be to one decimal place. Okay, so we've got two choices. You can either complete the square, in which case you'd have to divide by 2 first, because you can only do that with when the x squared hasn't got a number in front of it, or you can use the quadratic formula, which is what I'm going to do. Now, the quadratic formula is given to you. It's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, where the a is the number in front of the x squared, the b is the number in front of the x, and the c is the number on its own at the end. Okay, so for this one, I can see my b is 4, so I'm going to get minus 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 4 squared, minus 4 times a is 2, and c is minus 1, all over 2a, so 2 times 2. Okay, so just a reminder, the a is the 2, the b is the 4, the c is the minus 1. I can then just chuck all of that into my calculator, which is what I am going to do now. So, minus, and if you use the fraction button and type it all in at once, what it means is when you do, because you've got to do two answers, you do it once with a plus and once with a minus. So if you get it all typed in at once, you can then just use the replay button and sneak back and change one of them, which saves you a little bit of time. So 4 times 2 times minus 1 all over 2 times 2 on there. Alright, so my first answer I get, so my positive, so x is equal to minus 1 plus root 2, and I can just press my FD button. I want it to one decimal place, gives me 0.4. I then need to do exactly the same thing, but with a minus number, so I'm just going to, oh, I've just totally realised I've pressed the wrong button. I've pressed a 2 instead of a 1 in the formula. Let's just change that. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Get rid of that. Right, sorry, so the actual answer, sorry, minus 2 plus root 6 over 2. Okay, but I want it to one decimal place, so I get 0.2 for that one. I then need the other answer, so I then go back, and I'm going to change the plus to a minus, and that's going to give me the other answer, which is minus 2 minus root 6 over 2. I'm going to press the FD button, so I get x is equal to 2.2, sorry, minus 2.2 for that one. I'll write that again because I've made a mess of that. X is equal to minus 2.2. Now I've almost got full marks. The last thing I need to do is I need to get y, but I know that y is equal to 2 plus x because I wrote it down up there, so I can just add 2 to my x values. So for this one, y is equal to 2.2, and this one, y is equal to minus 0.2. So I've got 2 pairs of values, 4 answers altogether, but make sure they're grouped into pairs.